All right. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Finance and Supply Chain in Focus. Happy Canada Day to anyone joining us from up north, and happy 4th of July week to everyone here in the States. I'm glad you could be with us today. Today, we're going to talk about something a little bit lighter than last week or last month. But still just as relevant. And the topic for today is D365 Has That. Make finance and supply chain management work for you. So we're going to dig into a few of the potentially lesser known features and things that can enhance your day-to-day life as you're utilizing D365. As usual, a copy of this recording is going to be available after the event at the exact same link that you used to get here. We're going to take time for questions and comments throughout the session. So if you have anything, feel free to throw it into the chat or into the questions section. And then we're going to send out a survey just asking how we did afterwards. Feel free to fill it out. That's what we use to make this better and better. So with that, if you've never joined us here before, my name is Joe Tews. I'm a pre-sales architect here at Stoneridge Software. I've been at Stoneridge now for a little over just about 3 years actually, but I've got over 19 years in the Dynamics community itself. I started off on Microsoft Dynamics GP, and then I went over to Microsoft where I spent 5 years doing support for Dynamics AX, as well as 5 years doing solution architecting for the D365 product. So with that, let's get into today's topic. We're going to talk about some built-in features that you may not be using yet for everyday tools that are already in finance and supply chain that can really help to either make your life faster or easier or some combination of the above. So the first one I wanted to kind of talk to you about today is alerts. So alerts really give us the ability to not necessarily need to stay in the system and watch our data, but the moment something changes, you can actually be informed of anything that's changed. So you can set these from any page. Under the options menu, you can create custom alerts to fire based on due dates, on status changes, new records, anything like that. Again, you can have change-based alerts or due date alerts. Those are the two types of rules that we have available within D365. And these are delivered to wherever you look. They can be delivered to the Action Center, your email, whatever you want to have done with those alerts. And then again, these can be personal alerts or they can be team-wide alerts. So instead of kind of going through everything and then getting into the system, I figured today let's actually talk through it, and then we'll go take a look in D365. So I'm actually going to, before I forget, I'm going to put this into reader mode so I can easily flip back and forth. And as you can see, my session has already ended. That's actually something you admins can change, and I can show you how to do that as well. But let's talk about alerts first. So let's go to my purchase order page here. And let's say that I wanted to have an alert set up for every time a new purchase order was created or every time a requested receipt date was missed, perhaps. All of those different areas can be created as alerts. So anyone who has the correct security, and that's most everyone has the ability to set their own alerts, can come into the options menu on every page. And under the Share tab here, you're able to create a custom alert. And you can see that as soon as I click that drop down, it's going to give us the tools that we need in order to actually create those alerts. So taking just a second here. And of course, it's going to go slow during the webinar because that's just how it always goes. So you can see here, these are the rules that we can create for the new alerts. So the first thing it's going to ask you for is, what do you want to be alerted on? So based off of the table, so again, you kind of have to understand a little bit of the tables, but we're not making you understand that this is actually the perch table or the perch order table. we're calling this purchase orders. There are actually purchase table additional fields that you could look for, or address information that you could look for on here. But for the most part, the most obvious table name is going to be the one that you're looking for, and that's purchase orders in this case. And then it's going to ask you, what type of event are you looking for? So are you looking to just have it be fired anytime a purchase order is created or anytime a purchase order is deleted? You could have this alert fire. But actually, and I read this in the wrong order, you have to go down first. So if we're looking at all fields, that's when you get just record has been created or deleted. But if we look at, let's say, my delivery date field, or I have a due date field here. Let's say I go to my due date field. You'll notice that the event changes based off of the field that we're taking a look at here. So if we're looking at a specific field, you have the ability to have different events that get triggered. And now these have become a little bit more powerful. So these are our due date alerts, or our a date alerting. So once the due date has something within these events, and there's a lot of them. So been postponed, has changed, is due, or is due in 3 days, 1 calendar day, 3 calendar days, whatever we want to select here. So there's a lot of information that we have, including the ability to see records that have been created and deleted, same as before. You can also look at, was due this amount of time ago. So if it was due 2 days ago, I want it to go ahead and create an alert for me. So there's a lot of different things that you can do with these alerts. Now, again, these are available on all of the different forms within D365. So you can do this for purchase orders, you can do it for sales orders, you can do it for any number of areas within D365 that you're looking for. Now, you also have the ability within here, you can choose, do I want it to alert for all records in my purchase orders or just the current record? So if I'm monitoring one particular record and that's the only one I want to actually be alerted about. So, one particular customer, for example, or one particular purchase order or vendor, whatever it is that you're looking at, you have the ability to filter it down based off of that particular area. If you're a system admin, you do have the ability to assign these to be organization-wide. So what's going to happen now is this alert, when I select this box, is going to be available for the entire organization. So it's not necessarily just for the alerting portion of it, but more for the different legal entities. Sorry, that's the word I'm looking for. It's more for the different legal entities within your environment. You can have end dates. So if you only want to have this alert happen for the next day or two here, you can specify end dates within there. And then you can specify exactly how you want these alerts to fire. So do I want a subject? And that can kind of change with the different things that we have in here. So now we're saying that the order has been postponed. You can see if I say is due in 1 calendar day, you can see that changes the name of the subject. You can edit this to be whatever you want it to be for the subject, and you can put the message within here, all depending on what exactly you're looking to do with this. And then what do you want to have done? Do you want to have it send an email, yes or no? Do you want it to send externally? Do you want it to send to someone else? You can also specify that within here as well. And then if I send an email, you can specify who the recipients are. So am I going to send this to Joe at Stone Ridge Presales? Or am I going to send it, organization-wide if we have a, kind of an organization box? Now, this might be something maybe we don't want to send this organization-wide. So just something to be noteful of. But again, your end users have the ability to specify these alerts, but that doesn't mean that they get to just have full control over it. So as system admins, we have the ability to go in and remove alerts. If someone sets an alert to, every time a line is added to a purchase order or something like that, you do have the ability to modify those alerts. And then I also have the ability, as the owner of the alerts, I have the ability to manage the alerts within the form itself. So if I wanted to see if I had any alerts on that particular form, you have the ability to do that. You can also come into your user options and you can see, actually I got to think about this. This one might not actually be in here. Let's just take a quick look. Nope, this would be under organization administration. So you'd be able to modify the alerts within there. So that is alerts, and they are pretty simple. It actually requires, so if you don't have alerts set up, you do need to have, there's a batch job that needs to run. So if I go to system administration here, well, I'm running behind. If you go to system administration under batch jobs, search for the alert batch jobs. There's two of them. One's a due date alert. One is a changes alert. Those two batch jobs need to be running, and you can control the frequency at which those are run. So that is how we do our alerting. All right, let's pop back into the PowerPoint here. Saved views. So another way that we have that we can personalize our environment is by utilizing saved views. These really capture, if I have any filters, sorting, different column layouts, and grouping on a page, so you don't have to rebuild the same screen. A lot of times I refer to this, or I think about this as kind of that ad hoc reporting that folks are looking for. It gives you the ability to kind of create these new queries and see different things, but then also to save this view in case you wanted to get back to it. So let's go back into Dynamics here, and let's actually just stay on the purchase order page here. Let's say that I only wanted to see purchase orders based on a particular vendor. So let's say for my US 111 vendor, that's the only purchase orders I want to see. So I'm going to apply that. And now you can see these are all the purchase orders that I have for that vendor. Well, maybe I also come in here and I just personalize this page and I want to remove this column. Or maybe I want to have a group by. Let's have a group by approval status here, right? So we wanted to kind of slice and dice this in a few different ways within here. So I have the ability here to actually save the view, and you'll notice that as soon as I modify anything, it throws a little asterisk up here, and that means that we are modifying the default view that we are looking at. So I can come up in here and I can actually choose to save as. And this is going to give me the ability to save this as a view, a different view within D365. So I can come up here and I can hit Save As, and I can say these are US 111 purchase orders, right? Or technically Contoso office supplies. And then I can enter a description in here. And then I can also define my legal entity access. So do I want to allow this view for all legal entities? Probably not, because this is a vendor account that is specific to this legal entity. So I can just restrict it to only this particular legal entity. I could also come in here and I could say, all right, just the selected company. So if I know that that USMF, for example, actually has this vendor, or if another company has that, I can do that as well. But the other thing you can do here is you can say pin this as the default view. So what's going to happen now is every time I would come into this form, if I pinned it as a default view, it would automatically bring this up for me. So now I've created almost a dashboard of this particular vendor. Or if I'm using vendor groups, I could do it by vendor group so that I could see basically all of my vendors. I wanted to see everything that is in an open order status, and the requested date is in the past. So there's a lot of different things that you can do to kind of create these different views. So if I save this, I'm not going to pin it as a default view, but you can see it saves it as my US 111 purchase orders. But let's say I wanted to see my requested receipt date is before, and there's a code for today. I think that's it. See if it actually takes it here. But you could say basically anything before today. Yeah, it didn't like that. I can't remember exactly what the code is. But you have the ability to make those changes within here. And now you've got different views, different legal entity specific views or global views that give you kind of that ad hoc reporting really that you're looking for, without having to go in and create a new purchase order report or anything like that. Right, so that's pretty cool. But let's say that you made a really awesome view. You made a great view or multiple views that you want to be able to share with your team. Well, as system administrators, you could actually contact, or as a user, you could contact your system administrator and say, hey, I want you to take this view and actually make it available to all of the users in my group or everyone who has this particular security role. And system administrators can do that. They can actually take this view and they can make it a global view so that other folks can utilize the view that you've created. So now, not only have you created the view for yourself, but maybe the entire AP team or maybe the entire accounting team, you've now made a view that is able to be shared across multiple different people. So now you've spent, what have we been in here, 2-3 minutes kind of creating this view, and you've rolled it out, and now it saved you an hour of creating a new report perhaps, or something else that maybe didn't even fit the picture, because this is all going to be live data still. So you have the ability to kind of have this live updated report per se available to you. So that is the ability to use saved views. And again, you can modify everything you want within here and save that as a different view. So if I pop back to my PowerPoint again, this is the filters, the sorting, the columns, grouping, all of that on a page. Basically, you have the ability, you can have different tasks done 2 different ways. This is just kind of a summary of what we've done. So we've chased the overdue invoices. Now we can actually have an alert that'll do the chasing for us. We could rebuild our screen. We could write how-to docs. Actually, I had Cowork build this. So I see we have a question. In my system, I'm struggling to identify how to create an alert of a PO that is created for over a certain amount. Is that possible? That is a great question. So over a certain amount, let's pop back in there real quick and let's just see. So let's go into my alerts. I want to create a new alert. I'm trying to think if this is possible. I don't know if I've done that before yet. And let's take see if I've got a total field within here. I've got total discount. All right. So let me finish up my content and we'll come back and we'll see if we can figure out what that is at the end. Oh, it's an anonymous user, but we'll see if we can figure that out at the end. Let me finish up the content that we have here, just because I happen to notice the time now, and Bree doesn't like it if I go too far over. All right. So personalization, this is very similar to what we talked about with the saved view. So again, you have the ability, you can move, hide, add fields. You can also set your own startup page. So what does that look like? Well, personalization in each form, we'll just stick with our good old purchase order form here. You have the ability, and this is something that I thought was maybe going away when the web-based came out, but they managed to keep it, and that is right-clicking actions. So we have the ability, you can still right-click within D365. So let's say that I wanted to remove the currency. I'm not dealing with multi-currency. I don't need this column here. So if I hover over it, and if I right-click on this, you can see that I get some form information, so I can go drill into what the form is. But then I can also personalize this form. So I want to personalize this form. And what this is going to do is it's going to give us the ability, we can add a field. So if we wanted to add another field to within here, or we could just personalize the whole page. And what this is going to do is I have the ability now, I can select the column, and I can also make this hidden. I can make this a required field, or I could even skip this, this particular one. So there's a lot of different personalization options within here. But if I go back to personalize this page here, you can see I've got a lot of other things here. So if I wanted to hide the entire element, I could do that within here. I could make some fields required. So without having to pull developers in, I have the ability to require certain fields within here. If I wanted to add a new field within here, so instead of taking away the currency field, let's say I wanted to add a field within here, I could do that just by clicking add a field, maybe. It's coming up here. And I'm giving a list of all of the fields that I have that I'm tracking within the table. And not just the perch table, but different tables that I have connected to the perch table. So anything that has some kind of a relationship with other tables within here. So you can see I've got my purchase order table here, but I might have some additional information. I might have my address information. So I have the ability, I can add that within here. So if I wanted to add city, I could go ahead and do that and click update. And now it would throw my city on the form here. And if I just did a quick refresh, we'll just make sure that comes up. And nope, didn't actually add it. Of course it didn't add it. But that's the gist of how it would actually do that. So you have the ability, you can make those different personalizations within D365. The startup page is another area that you have control over. So if I go to my user options here, and if I go to my preferences, and again, these are different preferences that you have the ability to set within D365. So again, you can set what your startup company is. If you have multi-entities that you're dealing with, you can specify what your company is here. But the initial page is really where you have the ability to modify what initially comes up for you. So right now I've got the default dashboard. Since I'm a system administrator, I could actually have the system administration page come up right away. I could also have feature management. There's a new immersive homepage that is a part of the new Copilot rollout within D365. If I wanted to have an essentials dashboard or even employee self-service, those are all available for me within my D365 preferences here. So I have the ability, I can choose what those different pages are. Now, for the most part, most of our users are probably going to stick with the default dashboard. They might want to try the Essentials dashboard or employee self-service, but for the most part, we're probably going to stick with that. We also have the ability to specify if we want default view or edit mode. So right now mine is set to auto, and I have to go in and change it to edit. But if we know we're going to be going in here to edit everything, we could actually come in here and just set this default view edit mode to be automatically edit for us. So everything is just thrown in here, or everything is just pulled up with the edit functionality. So you have that ability to change that as well. On the visual tab here, you can see we also have the ability, you can kind of select some of the different color themes within here. So if I wanted to make my page be a maroon color, if I wanted to have real small icons within here, I can do that as well. On the preferences, again, there's a few things that you have the ability to do here. If I wanted to have this task list show up on my default dashboard as well, so my workflow task list I could have on here as well. Do I want to have tooltips show on focus? Basically this. On the account side here, this is really, not a whole lot that you'll have to worry about within here. And then on the workflow tab here, you can specify how you want those notifications to happen. And if you didn't know, you can actually set up delegation. So you could have your delegation be active for a particular period of time, so that if you're away on vacation, you could actually add a delegation within here so that it would automatically go through and delegate any workflow tasks that you get assigned to you. So those are some of the different personalization options that we have within D365. Finally, one of the last things, we have the ability, we can get to different areas in D365 pretty easily by doing either search, or we can organize things. So we have the ability within D365, if you haven't noticed it before, in front of basically everything that we have within here, our modules, our workspaces, you can set something as a favorite. And so if you have a lot of tools that you are currently working with, or a lot of pages that you are currently working with, you can set those as favorites so that you can just come into your favorites menu and you can see I've got a few that are already set within here, and now you have the ability to view your favorites. You also have the ability within any of the forms, you can pin them to the dashboard here. I thought I had one pin, maybe I don't. But basically, as you're looking at any of these dashboards, so if I go to my sales order processing and inquiry, for example, let's say that I wanted to pin this to my dashboard. I could actually modify this. Not sure why that didn't come up, but I could actually pin some of these to my dashboard so that they would just show up as a line within there. So you have that ability within your D365 personalization as well. The other thing to notice, if you have never actually tried this, but if you know kind of what page you're looking for, but you can't remember where it is, you can actually come up into the top bar here and you can start typing, and it will go through and it will find everything that is named custom or customer, for example. And you can see everything that is available within here. Or if I wanted to go to my all customers, you can see I would have that available. And you can see actually where all of my customers are. So I can go to credit and collections, I can go to retail and commerce, I can go to sales and marketing. So I have all of that ability within here as well. What you may not have may not have seen before is, let's go to my all customers page here. You can actually filter within the page itself by going to either, if I wanted to find an action here. So I wanted to say, where is my new customer at? I could actually filter down by actions. I could filter down by my customers. So there's an additional search layer within the application itself. So it gives you a little bit more flexibility, a little bit more ability to do those searches within D365. All right. Just make sure I've talked about everything. Oh yes, the last thing, Task Recorder. If you are not using Task Recorder, I highly recommend it, just because it is a great way to kind of organize your system processes and your standard order or standard operating procedures. So if I wanted to, let's say I wanted to create a new customer based on the Task Recorder here, I could actually just come to my little settings cogwheel and go to my Task Recorder, and I could create a new recording, and I could say I want to create new customer. And I would have the ability to start that recording, and now it's going to record all of the different steps that I take to create a new customer. So I would come to my accounts receivable, I go to my customers, my all customers. And as soon as I click that, you can see it's going to bring up that step within here. And I would say I want to create a new customer here, and I want to say that, I would actually have a new account number here. I would call this 2001. And I would say this is my Joe 2's customer. I could specify a customer group here. Oh, looks like I already have a Joe 2's in there. I'm not going to match that. I could say that I have a customer group of 10, and so on and so forth. And so you would enter all of your information within here, and then you could stop the task recording. And what you can do with this now is you could actually save it to your PC, or you could save it to Lifecycle Services. And that gives you the ability to choose where you're going to save this to. I'm actually going to save this to my PC just because I know that's where I want it for now. But I could also export this as a Word document. And so what might this be helpful for? If you're running into issues in D365, let's say you're running into a perceived bug, or you're not sure what's going on, you could actually record something or send it as a Word document over to Stoneridge support, for example. And now you've got a step-by-step list of what you've done to recreate the error that you're receiving. And this is huge for our support team because now they're able to follow step by step and do exactly what you did to try to recreate that error. But the other thing you can do is, let's say you get a new employee and you want to teach them how to use the system. Well, I can now play this recording back as a guide. So if I go open this from my PC and I go grab my new customer task recording here, and I open the task guide, you can see this is now all of the steps that I need in order to create a new customer. And I can actually go one step further. So I can start the task guide and it's going to tell me exactly what to do. So go to my accounts receivable, customers, all customers. So I'm going to go there. Now watch what happens here. It's actually going to float over to exactly where I need to go next. So I'm going to click on new because that's where it told me to go. Next thing it's going to do is it's going to ask me to enter an account information. And then as soon as I say got it, it's going to go to the next form here, and so on and so forth. So it's going to go all the way down the line, and it's going to show you exactly what to do. So that is the task recorder, and I believe we have hit everything. So just wanted to see if there were any questions in the chat. And yes, thanks, Randy. Line amount is the field that we want to check. So that is great information there. Any other questions, feel free to put them in the chat. Otherwise, thanks for joining again this month. We will be back next month and hope to see you all again then.